So let's talk about something called playlist maintenance. As someone who's got a lot of different playlists for a lot of different moods and occasions, there's a level of maintenance I like to keep with them. Naming, labeling, organizing. But for some, that means changing the playlist itself, like adjusting the track list or deleting songs. Which usually boils down to two reasons. The first is the boring one, because the song doesn't hit like it used to. And the second is the fun one, because it makes me think. It's because it doesn't fit with the other songs on the playlist anymore. With how much my music tastes have grown over the past few years, I got this conundrum where I'll add new songs to older playlists that kind of fit their vibe but also go in their own direction too. So the more I add these newer songs, the original essence of that playlist gradually turns into something else. For example, I got this one playlist called Mario Party Minigames. It started out as a bunch of songs with cool, simple riffs to jam on, like Sissy Strut by the Meters and Chick Habit by April March. But the more songs I added, the more it inadvertently reminded me of the music in Mario Party Minigames. Like, tell me you don't imagine Fun Run or Picture This when you hear shit like Why I Went Missing by the Style Council or This Must Be the Place by Talking Heads. Yeah, by the way, I grew up with Mario Party 7. That's the best one. I'm biased. I don't care what anyone says. I got playlists I've changed more times than I can count, but I've also got playlists I never change, whether intentionally or not. For example, I always make playlists at the beginning of a month and add whatever I listen to a bunch throughout it. Those are meant to be like mini time capsules. A lot of the time, the songs I add are by completely different artists in completely different genres or style, so a lot of the time they don't inherently go together or have a cohesive tone, but that's kind of the point. It's for whatever tickled my fancy throughout the respective month. They're like glorified mixtapes, and because of that, they're meant to stay the same and not have anything change once the month is over. I also got some ironic and joke playlists with very specific songs or track lists. These ones need to stay the same, because if I mess with them too much, it can jeopardize the bit, and I refuse to ever let my jokes come into harm's way. I also got some playlists I straight up abandoned or forgot about, usually because I made them on a whim and added a few songs that seemed to fit a vibe, but the vibe was just never found. I got this one called 2005 Look Alive with just 2 songs on it by the Go Team and Death Cab for Cutie. I don't know what that title means. I probably thought that's what 2005 sounded like. I was 4 back then, so anyone who was a little more cognitive at the time, let me know if I was on the money. Some of these also have songs that were delisted off of Spotify, so I can't even listen to them if I wanted to. I had tons of playlists with songs off Loveless by My Bloody Valentine. That's like one of my favorite albums ever, and it got completely murked off the platform. If anyone knows why this happened, please spill the beans, because it was just with this one album. MBV still has some of their other stuff on there too. Also, before anyone calls me out, sorry for using Spotify. I know they're evil pieces of shit and I shouldn't give them my money, but it's purely for convenience, I promise. I got all my playlists and albums saved on there, and I know there's websites that can transfer them to less scummy platforms, but I'm not performative enough to shill out for Pandora. I need music to survive, okay? Everyone's allowed to support one vile corporation. I also got playlists I treat like albums, where I'll listen to the songs in order instead of on shuffle. With shuffle playlists, I'll make those knowing the particular mood or vibe I want, so I'll stockpile a bunch of songs that fit. Even if it's in a different order every time, I still get the essence of the playlist. With playlists I do in order, I prioritize adding songs that work well together and base the mood or feeling around that. I maintain both these types of playlists in their own way, but I feel it's way more noticeable deleting a song off an ordered playlist over a shuffled one. That makes sense because I'm always hearing those chronologically. So removing something is like taking a song off an album you love. It's like listening to Houses of the Holy and suddenly Dancing Days is gone. You're like, I know it's supposed to be there, but it's not. Where'd it go? I got this one playlist called Space, in all caps. It's a bunch of atmospheric post-rock and hardcore themed around what I assume space sounds like. I've lost track of how many times I've listened to this thing, but every time I do, it's always in order, no matter where I start. But this is also a playlist I've rearranged and deleted songs off specifically because I've listened to it so much. Not because they're bad, they just don't flow with the other songs anymore. I'm trimming the fat essentially, you gotta be up to snuff to be alongside God as an Astronaut, and this will destroy you. I'll notice taking songs off shuffle playlists too, but it usually clocks after a couple listens since I'm not familiarized with a set track list and just going off what I remember adding. Also, I have this Spotify setting that plays related songs after a playlist ends. So sometimes it'll be even harder to notice because now I'm hearing songs that aren't on the playlist instead of ones that used to be on there. I know a lot of people who don't like that feature and just want to hear the stuff they added, but I don't mind it. They can play cool shit sometimes. But a feature I hate with every fiber of my being is Smart Shuffle, where it plays songs that aren't on the playlist in between songs that are on the playlist. To an extent, it's the same idea as the feature I like, but at least with that one, it puts the songs on after the playlist is finished, not while it's still going. That just kills the pace for me. Every single one of my playlists has a pace, even the ones I keep on shuffle. So inserting a bunch of bullshit in between the songs I specifically chose puts me in a sour mood. Kinda related to this, but another feature I hate with even more fibers in my body is album shuffle. Oh my god, this is the worst thing ever. I'm not saying you gotta be a purist and listen to an album front to back every time you want to hear a couple songs from it. I skip through albums all the time unless it's for a video or it's genuinely the best thing ever. But at least with that, I'm still skipping through the songs in order to keep some of the experience. Because this might sound crazy, but there's actual creative intent behind an album's track list. The artist or band sat down and strategically mapped out which songs go where and which ones to put next to others. Not saying they're always perfect. I can think of a bunch of albums I love that I'd restructure the track list for. But shuffling albums prove you got no respect for that and you're just spitting in the face of the album's creative intent. Sorry, tangent over, back to playlists. I feel I have a similar and different method for maintaining shuffle playlists versus ordered ones. For example, I have this one playlist called Blue for a bunch of songs that sound like the color blue to me. I'm not sure why these give off blue energy, like they're not in the genre of blues or give me the blues. I just hear it and go, yep, that's blue. Which is why there's a bunch of different stuff on here, like Tribe Called Quest, Soul Coughing, Duster. It also helps when the word blue is part of the artist's name, like Healing by the Blue Stones, because like where else am I gonna put that? The Beige playlist? Let me know if anyone else assigns songs to specific colors based off how they sound. I think that's a real thing, or I'm just crazy. I don't know, mix of both probably. I keep this one on shuffle because when I put it on, I specifically want to hear blue-sounding songs. I'm not expecting a structure or to listen to the entire thing in one sitting. Unlike another playlist I got called Check. I made this one last year with a bunch of songs I was obsessed with and use it for multiple occasions. I eventually called it Check because I'd play it before sound check at a restaurant I was an audio engineer at. It's kinda on the shorter side, it's only got 13 songs and isn't even an hour long, but that's part of the reason why I listen to it in order. And usually all at once. I feel these songs go together really well and work for almost any occasion. I definitely went through a phase of making playlists as long as possible, like it made me seem cooler or something. When in reality, I just had a bunch of rando shit that didn't fit with the other songs, or the same ones I already had on a dozen other playlists. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Like if you got songs you love more than yourself, more power to you. Add that to as much shit as you want. But it should still be thematically appropriate instead of filling space just to fill space. I found this one playlist I made for a band I was in back in college that encapsulated my music taste at the time. And some of the tracks go together, like Psychedelic Porn Crumpets, Chevelle, Royal Blood, Queens of the Stone Age. But then it's also got Come Dancin' by the Kinks and Brandy by Looking-Glass. Quite the tonal shift if I do say so myself. Again, this was supposed to be like, oh, here's what I listen to, and I still like all these songs on their own, but together, it's just incoherent. Say, Brandy, you're a fine girl, what a good wife. A playlist doesn't need to be a specific length to validate its existence. It can be one song or 1,000 songs. Dude, I've seen playlists that would take literal weeks to finish. I don't have the attention span for that. Also, kinda related, anyone else go through other people's playlists when they're bored? I know that's a little weird, but it's kind of fun to worm through other people's shit and quietly judge their music taste and organizational skills. I don't know where else to go with this video, so I'm gonna wrap it up by saying treat your playlists with respect. Whether you got hundreds of them for all sorts of occasions and moods, or just a couple you play and repeat till the cows come home. Just make sure you're maintaining them and ditch the songs you don't listen to anymore. Because from my experience, there's nothing worse than being in a car with someone who's driving and playing music, but actively skipping through half the songs on their phone. Not only is it annoying to hear the first 3 seconds of a bunch of songs, get off your phone, you are driving. If any of y'all got any fun observations about your own playlists, let me know in the comments. I'll link some of mine in the description, but I'm only doing the Spotify links. I'm not converting all these to YouTube playlists. Sorry, but that's just too much work for me. Shoutouts, of course, to my patrons, and I'll see y'all next time to talk about double albums.